Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. In Titans news, offensive tackle J.C. Latham announced that he will not play this Sunday versus the Rams due to a lingering hip injury. Head coach Brian Callahan also announced that defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat will be out with an ankle injury. In Vols news, freshman offensive tackle David Sanders Jr. has been ruled out for the Georgia game tomorrow. Week 2 in the NFL began last night with the Packers beating the Commanders 27-18 in Green Bay. The Commanders also suffered some serious injuries as running back Austin Eckler is feared to have suffered a torn Achilles, and defensive lineman Dietrich Wise suffered a season-ending quad injury. Also, more Week 2 news, the Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver has been ruled out this Sunday versus the Jets with an ankle injury, and the Colts announced that corners Jalen Jones and Charvarius Ward will be out on Sunday versus Denver. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news that wants in your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. It's a loaded show today as Jordan Dajani will join us at 1:20. Then Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider, will join us at 2 o'clock to preview a little bit Tennessee and Georgia. We got some injury news as we were coming on air. God. Obviously, when we went off air, J.C. Latham announced in the locker room that he was going to be not playing. He'd be inactive on Sunday. And then T'Vondre Sweat has also been ruled out. So your first rounder and second rounder from your draft class last year who play in the trenches and are pretty important to the success of this team are not going to be here against the Rams team that is definitely going to notice that those two are not going to be out there and try to target their replacements. I guess let's start with J.C. Latham. I wouldn't be shocked if he went on a short-term IR based on his statements yesterday, because they're going to have to make a little bit of roster moves to maybe bring in some depth pieces because they got two big injuries. So I do wonder, is short-term IR a possibility? Because the way he talked about it yesterday, it sounds like it's going to be one of those things that takes with time, and it may never go away 100% this year. Oh, really? Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
How did he say it? Like,
he said it would take time. He could do pretty much everything but, the movement drills and all that kind of stuff. And it's, if he was a guard, it wouldn't matter. Because I guess that was a question, like maybe if you were a guard, would this have still been an issue for you? Could you have still played through it? Because this happened, I guess, was it the Atlanta game, Ross? Can you find the clip also as well? I think it was the Atlanta game or the Atlanta week of practice that he got hurt. He hurt this hip and he tried to play through it. And that just kept aggravating it more and more.
And he didn't even play the Atlanta game, I don't think.
I don't think.
They didn't dress him, I don't think.
Yes. That was the last preseason game, right?
Oh, that was the last one.
Yeah.
It was the last one.
Okay.
Right. Okay, it was the last one.
But I do wonder, the way that he made it sound, he was very, very morose, I guess is a good word, is like he was just, it does not sound good. Now, does not mean that's season ending or anything,
right.
But it does sound like he could be out for a little bit. Do you have the clip? Okay, here is what J.C. Latham said in the locker room yesterday.
Yeah, it just made it worse. Thought I was good to go by the game. I felt amazing when the game came, and then a couple plays in, things just started to happen, so it's pretty frustrating to do.
Is it a pain tolerance injury, or is there something you can do?
No, it's just, it's a strain, so you really can't really do anything. You take all the treatment and all the medication that you have to take to make it get better and reduce inflammation, but that's pretty much it, though.
Is it one of those things where if you were an interior player, like a center or a guard, so it's not just a lateral movement issue?
It's like extending and contracting back in, so whenever you do anything of that nature, it's one of those type of things.
What's a week like, JC, when you're not able to practice, trying to stay up to speed?
I'm still taking the approach mentally that I'm, a starter, so I try to get as much film this week as I was last week. Taking the same approach. Our coach has us do an intricate film, book, study guide that we try to do all the time, and so I still try to get as much of that filled in as I can, as if I'm actually playing. Eat right, make sure my weight's where it's supposed to be at, lifting, everything like that. The only thing that I'm not doing is just playing, so everything else stays the same.
Yeah, so you're out this Sunday?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's season long. I'm on the shelf for the whole season. But that's kind of also how the helmet to the quad kind of sounded for L'Jarius Sneed too. So we'll see. But it's a different injury. He said it's a hip strain, and it has to do with even if he were to play guard, he couldn't play guard because it's not about lateral movement. It's about the extending and contracting part of being an offensive lineman. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised if we see short-term IR so they could free up a roster spot. Maybe, I don't know if they'll do the same thing like L'Jarius Sneed and see how he is next week before they do that. Because it took a while for L'Jarius Sneed to go on any kind of IR list last year. They just kept making him inactive. But right now, I don't know. Does not sound like in the immediate future, in the toughest part of the schedule, that you're going to have J.C. Latham there for most of it.
As I said on Monday, my biggest concern was J.C. Latham.
Yeah. And it took all the way till Thursday for us to get an answer on it.
Man, yeah, him saying that he was out, most players don't do that, means that it's probably going to be a while, to your point. It's probably going to be 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks to get it back. So I've never, a strained hip, I didn't have that, but I don't even remember someone else having that. But to me, this is it doesn't even matter what position. I think this is the hip, man, and his mobility and to push off. He said it's a strained muscle to his hip. I'm assuming that's what
Usually that refers to a strained hip flexor, a common injury causing pain, tightness, and weakness in the front of the hip or the upper thigh.
Oh, man, that's just, and he could come back at some point, but then it could come back again because all of a sudden he stresses it out there. So, this is probably going to be a little ongoing.
That's my concern, is that this could be a season-long thing.
Yeah, dang.
He may never be 100%. It's kind of like after Peter Skronsky got that appendectomy and he never looked 100%.
He never looked the same.
This may be that year, which when you have J.C. Latham dealing with that, which possibly could be all year long, and then you have whatever keeps happening with Tavondre Sweat. First he has the abdominal injury, then he has the tonsillitis, now he's got an ankle. It's gearing up right now that your top 2 picks in last year's draft are kind of getting into lost year kind of territory in their second year where they'll never be 100%. And listen, there's hardly any NFL player that survives a whole season 100%. Probably not one.
But missing games is a whole other story here. So, man, I would have bet money Latham would play the whole entire season. So, oof. Yeah, so to me, that leaves even more pressure. Now, to me, there's pressure on Moore Jr. because we're going to probably have to help that other tackle. Mm-hmm. So you got to rise up. We may not be able to help you.
Well, that other tackle, they haven't told us who the other tackle is going to be. It's not
that means that we're going to have to help them.
Yeah, it's not necessarily going to be Oliudo. It may be Blake Hance, which is probably a worse option than Oliudo, or it could be John Ojukwu, who they put on the practice squad and call him up.
Oh, so we're going to do the rotation again?
That's my concern.
Maybe that's what we should put out there on poll question.
Because doesn't everybody remember last year, this whole rotation, like a couple series, it was Leroy Watson, then here comes
I've never seen that before in my life.
A platoon right tackle. What they should do, in my honest opinion, it should be John Ojukwu until it's untenable. Because I think he's the best of the 3. And that's not really saying much about my faith in John Ojukwu at right tackle versus the Rams defense. It just says more about my lack of faith in Oliudo and Blake Hance.
Who's blocking first?
Well, it ain't going to be Dan Moore, and it ain't going to be... that's my thing, is that someone posted a clip of Cam Ward out there throwing around the trash can, and someone else quote tweeted it and saying, looks like Cam Ward's getting practicing with Dan Moore and Oliudo.
Yeah, so it's... Ross, please stop this craziness on
I wish
social
I could,
media,
man.
These guys. I find it humorous, though, man. They come up with some funny stuff out there, man.
Well, the only way.
Oh, man, it's just a second game.
It's the second game. I'm already thinking about what the Titans should do with that first overall pick in the 2026 draft.
What are you taking?
Trade back. Listen, someone else is going to want a quarterback, right? Trade back for a haul.
Not, man.
Help the rebuild.
Wait, so you said back-to-back years are going to be number one pick?
And
no way.
I hope not, but you're lucky Miami's out there looking like trash.
Oh, he has to be doomed, man. If they
All joking aside, this is not good for Cam Ward. This is where I think play calling and play design on those plays is going to help. You can't send 4 verts and 3 verts in these long developing routes like you did versus Denver because you don't have half the protection that you need. And if Zeitler and Cushenberry haven't shaken their rust off yet, it could be even more disastrous right now because you have to right now. Kobe Turner, who's the defensive tackle for the Rams, that we talk a lot about Jared Verse and Byron Young, but he's really good too.
My boy Frisky
and Fisk, yeah, we got Braden Fisk too. But Kobe Turner's getting a lot of double teams his way already through week 1, more than Jeffrey Simmons, and so that tells you what the Texans thought of Kobe Turner. Now you may have to double your edge guys, or you're going to have to do something to get creative because they got 4 guys right now that. Maybe outside of whoever matches up against Skoronski, I have more faith in them than I do any of the Tennessee Titans offensive linemen to win that one-on-one matchup, and it could get nasty quick.
Man, you scaring me, man.
Remember when it was Rams 5.5?
You made me think they're going to get more than 6 sacks.
You remember Rams 5.5 yesterday? It's still 5.5 right now. If you guys want to jump on that bet before it goes up to maybe 6.5 or 7.5 in favor of the Rams.
Hey, man. The Rams' offense was just okay. Well, okay, think about this now. Okay, they double Puka, and they put Snead on Adams if he plays. Half. Yeah.
Well, it's what then? I mean, like, I guess my thing is that we haven't really talked a lot about it, but Draymond Jones and Arden Key didn't do anything. And they played a lot of snaps to not do anything.
Wait.
I'm just trying to figure out, you cover
you
them.
could not go through a whole game and say so I didn't do anything.
I mean, okay, Draymond Jones did all right setting the edge, but like when we're talking about pass rushing, like in your scenario when you're doubling these out, it's Jeffrey Simmons and nobody else to put the fear of God in you.
Well, they knew that coming into the season, so they got to live and die for what they got.
I'm going to be very interested to see how Denard Wilson can attack this defense or offense.
Look good on pass rush this week.
Anyways,
did he improve?
Not in pass rush. I will say that he did set the edge very well on the least 2 plays. Very well, like high level good.
On passes?
On run plays.
Run plays.
He set the edge very well. That's where it ends for him.
They were clearly being schemed to not let Bo Nix out of the pocket, but the problem I saw is they're running way too far upfield, so Bo Nix can just kind of step up in the pocket. Luckily, Jeff got through a good bit, but
I did think that Femi did a good job of recognizing when he thought the run was coming his way and signal that, which is good to have. I mean, I'm just saying when we're talking pass rush, Jeffrey Simmons was the pass rush. Let's not get fooled into thinking, wow, they really had Bo Nix under duress. Jeffrey Simmons had Bo Nix under duress. I mean, for the most part.
That's your positivity for the day?
Jeffrey Simmons looked great. But my concern is now that Tavondre Sweat's gone, and listen, Sebastian Joseph Day was a beast, I thought. I mean, he wasn't a great pass. I thought he was a solid contributor. But now you're leaning on Sebastian Joseph Day more than you really want to.
Well, every now and then you're going to have to do this kind of gymnastics. How did the defense play last week?
Looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now we'll see with a different, because Matt Stafford loves to get that pass out.
No elite linebacker. When I say that, I'm talking about Pro Bowl level type players. And no
the defense as a whole looked pretty good.
Right. But as a unit, they looked pretty good.
Now, can you do that against
Again.
Matt Stafford, who gets the ball out quicker than Bo Nix does.
Oh, yeah. What was it? You said it was like 2.1 to 2.6?
It was something crazy like that for him. I mean, he gets the ball out really quick.
And to better receivers than Denver had.
Yeah, and to better receivers.
Yeah.
And they got a better running back in my mind in Kyron Williams than they had over at Denver. So, and say what you want about Sean Payton. I'm not trying to dismiss what Sean Payton is, but Sean McVay, I take him 9 times out of 10, over Sean Payton right now.
Probably so.
And so it really just comes down to, Tavondre Sweat and J.C. Latham missing really takes this from, okay, it's likely a loss to maybe this thing could get out of hand pretty quick. It's really going to come down to what can the defense stop the bleeding? Because you can't let them run all over. You can't let them run on passes. So can the defensive unit hold up? And Cam Ward, it's time to put that team on your shoulder. Like, it is going to have to be Cam Ward because I don't know what they're going to do with Tony Pollard. They didn't seem to trust Tony Pollard to carry the whole load like they did last year. He got 18 carries for 60 yards. And what did you say going in the game that he had to get to for them to win that game?
Yeah, I think I said 70 or 80.
You said, I think you first said 80, then you dropped it down to 70. Either way, he didn't get there.
They would have ran him a little bit more, but I don't know if they just don't trust him because I think they're trying to win the game. I really firmly believe the more and more I watch Callahan's offense, I think he thinks a sharp pass is part of the running game. I'm starting to buy into that.
And I think most of these offensive coordinators tend to think that way.
Yeah, I think he's thinking that because this is the first game, so Pollard is healthy and ready to rock and roll based off what you saw in preseason. There's no holding back there. So I think it's more his philosophy and things kind of get away from him a little bit. So
Matt Stafford on his pass attempts had the third highest because Zach Wilson only had 9 dropbacks. He had the third fastest time to release, 2.36 seconds.
2.3.
And then on all plays, including scramble plays and sacks and pass attempts, because that's just pass attempts. So third fastest on pass attempts. When you start factoring in everything else, scramble, sacks, and pass attempts, he is the second fastest, only behind Aaron Rodgers, who we know has one of the fastest releases in the NFL. And so when you are going up against that, you have to be on your P's and Q's. You can't get grabby like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. tends to do because that ball's going to come out quick. You got to be in position to make a play as the ball gets there.
But was it within 5 yards?
Oh, yeah, within 5 yards. But, I mean, this is shaping up to be a different style of defense that Denard Wilson's going to have to put out there. And how does his adjustment look from last week to this week, and how do the players execute that adjustment? That's the biggest question.
Yeah.
And we'll continue talking about the Tennessee Titans. We also got our Lyons Den best bets for later on in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And we also have Jordan Dajani coming up next of CBS Sports. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Listen up, Nashville. Dollar Shave Club just sharpened their blades and juiced up their lube stripe, all while keeping the price tag the same. To celebrate their best razor ever, they're hitting the road and are looking for the best at some parlor games in each city along the way. They'll be at Bridgestone Arena Pavilion from 1 to 8 p.m. this Saturday. And you can find me, of course, there. Yeah, me, Blaine Bishop, there from 2 to 4 this Saturday. And let's see if you got what it takes to beat me in some toss, kick, or throw competition. Top scorer during DSC time in Nashville scores 2 tickets to the Predators home opener. And don't be dull with a dull blade. Show up and show out. So bring the family to test your skills in a series of games done with Dollar Shave Club way, including cornhole, football target toss, and soccer darts. And you know I'm the king of that and more. And all you have to do is just go to DSC2025tour.com. That's DSC2025tour.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And we're going to go around the NFL with Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports, as we do every Friday. And Jordan, Green Bay is looking pretty good if you picked him as a Super Bowl pick, because they are on fire right now.
What's going on, friends? Thanks for having me back on the show. Yeah, the Packers are the first team in NFL history to start 2-0 in 5 days versus teams that made the playoffs the previous season. This defense is allowing an average of 15.5 points per game through 2 weeks. And their first two opponents were top 5 scoring offenses from last year. They have allowed just 9 points and 0 touchdowns in the first 3 quarters this season. So I mean, they do look like a Super Bowl sleeper. I think that defense is playing incredibly aggressively. I think Jordan Love is taking care of the football. I will say I think the Packers will end up being one of my favorite teams to watch this year, not just because the defense is sound, but Josh Jacobs is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I just love the way that Jordan Love goes for the home run shot on seemingly every passing down. They love to push the ball down the field. They may not have a true wide receiver one, but, some people think that's a weakness with Green Bay. I think it could end up being a strength because they have a lot of different weapons they can spread the ball around to, and we've seen that over the past 2 games.
What do you think went wrong with the Commanders? Obviously, Austin Eckler goes down with injury, but they couldn't get anything established on the run game. At one point, Jaden Daniels was like 3.4 yards per attempt. I know the Packers' defense is supposed to be good, but is it that good, or was there other issues with the Commanders last night?
Yes, it wasn't just one issue. I think that there are multiple issues with Washington. Jaden Daniels did not look like Jaden Daniels last night. I think he's dealing with some kind of right wrist injury, and he was allowed to play, of course, and we don't know how serious it is, but you have to wonder about that kind of after watching last night. But more so, I wondered, if Cliff Kingsbury's play calling could be as effective in year 2. They don't really have that NASCAR kind of tempo they did in 2024. Among their problems, I thought that the rookie Josh Connerly has struggled at times with the offensive line. I think that Washington's defense struggles to cover tight ends. I think Marshawn Lattimore, unfortunately, looks like a struggling veteran after dealing with injuries for numerous years. I think that Washington has 0 pass rush, and that unit just got worse with the loss of D. Wise, who went down last night with a season-ending quad injury. I think that Terry McLaurin doesn't appear to be up to speed. He has been a non-factor through 2 weeks of this season. And I think the other wideouts like Jalen Lane and Noah Brown haven't really been effective. So last night was truly one of the worst games of the Jaden Daniels era. I'm not ready to say here comes the sophomore slump, but I do think there are numerous issues with Washington that are worth keeping an eye on.
When it comes to the Miami Dolphins, I mean, Mike McDaniel, holy crap. Is anybody's seat hotter than Mike McDaniel besides maybe the coach of the Tennessee Titans? But what is going down in Miami, and is this going to be a thing where they finally just blow up the entire organization from getting rid of Chris Greer, getting rid of the head coach, getting rid of the quarterback after they just paid him over $100 million?
I mean, they might. I don't think that's a hyperbolic question for you to ask. And it's interesting because we've kind of been talking about this all offseason, right? And this isn't going to sound very journalistic of me, but the vibes in Miami have been off all offseason, right? Tyreek Hill got stripped of his captaincy. They had an assistant coach arrested for battery a week before the season opener. It just doesn't seem like things are going well for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins were always a team that they were able to beat the snot out of lesser teams, but they were never able to beat NFL contenders. And it feels like the wheels are kind of falling off the wagon. And that week 1 matchup versus the Colts was absolutely disastrous. I think the Dolphins have the worst cornerback room in the NFL on paper, and that showed itself because Daniel Jones looked like an MVP candidate in his Colts debut. I mean, Indianapolis scored on every single drive. I think Daniel Jones had 3 total touchdowns. But, I mean, I wasn't too surprised, right? Because I made the Colts a best bet for week 1 of the NFL season. But when it comes to the Dolphins, they already had a players-only meeting. And anytime you're doing that before week 2 of the regular season, it's a serious issue.
We're going around the NFL with Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports.
Well, Jordan, I thought the Fields Aaron Rodgers battle was really unique. And, man, I was really surprised at both performances by the quarterbacks. Which one surprised you more, Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields?
Blaine, if you were to ask me what was my biggest surprise from week 1 of the season, it was definitely the Steelers-Jets game. My final score prediction for that matchup was 13-10. It ended up being 34-32, the shootout that no one saw coming. Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns. The ball was coming out quickly. He looked motivated. He looked confident to beat his former team. But I don't want to get Justin Fields lost on this because I thought he was phenomenal as well. He looked more confident than he's been in his NFL career potentially. And it's interesting because we entered this season saying, what is the offensive identity going to look like for the Jets? I thought it was maybe going to take a couple of weeks for them to figure it out. But Justin Fields was effective on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. Breece Hall had 107 rushing yards. Fields didn't turn the ball over in terms of passing. So And this was against the defense that I think was top 6 in the NFL last season in terms of rushing yards allowed. So I was very impressed with the New York Jets, and I'm excited to see what they do moving forward. But, I was also asked the same question earlier this week, which one of these quarterbacks can keep it up, Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields? To be honest with you, my answer said, my response was, can I pick neither? Because I don't know if either of these guys can really keep it up. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 4 touchdowns every single week and have the Steelers being a legitimate contender. And of course, I still have questions about Justin Fields. But with that being said, I think these two are some of the most intriguing teams to watch moving forward.
Well, we saw Daniel Jones sighting, man. I mean, are the Colts going to the Super Bowl, or was this a one-hit wonder? I mean, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you think you keep this up?
No, I don't. I think that the Daniel Jones hype train could be derailed as soon as this week. I made the Broncos on the road as slight favorites as a best bet. I think that, they clearly played with their food against the Tennessee Titans, but we know the Denver Broncos are pretty loaded on both sides of the ball. I will point out for the Colts defensively that cornerbacks Jalen Jones and Charvarius Ward apparently have already been ruled out due to injury. That's going to make life easier on Bo Nix. And for Daniel Jones, he's now going to have to face off against the unit that was the most aggressive defense in the NFL last year. So if Daniel Jones is able to come out and put up another magnificent performance, I'm going to have to reevaluate how I look at the game. But I'm looking at a bounce-back performance for the Broncos here in week 2.
There were a lot of teams that lost that are, I would say, playoff contending teams based off last season. I'm sure that's every year. But, man, which one of those teams, like the Bills, that do you think has to win this week? Like, you got, they can't go 0-2. They're good.
Yeah, there are a couple of them. I think that the Baltimore Ravens have a great opportunity for a bounce back against the Cleveland Browns. They're double-digit favorites this week. I still cannot believe they blew that lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, I was about to go to bed.
Is that a thing with Harbaugh? That's what they're saying. I don't recall that.
Yeah. Zach Lyons could probably talk about it more, but there are definitely metrics that say that Harbaugh has some of the biggest blown leads in the NFL just over the past couple of years. And you can remember them just with Lamar Jackson in the regular season. That you can probably point to games that you can remember that. But another team I'll point out is, how about the Detroit Lions, right? They were absolutely blown out by the Green Bay Packers, and now they welcome Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson to Detroit. What if the Lions go 0-2 and lose to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams? That would be a massive storyline. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen, but the Lions offense completely lacked an identity in week 1 against the Green Bay Packers, because with Ben Johnson, they were creative. They had a surplus of weaponry. They never struggled to find a rhythm offensively. But against the Packers, all of that was missing. I didn't know what this offense is going to look like. They never found a rhythm. So I think in front of their home fans on Sunday is going to be a massive game for the Lions.
Well, typically the last 3 years, I think we've said, who's the team to beat in the AFC? We said the Chiefs. Who is your team to beat in the AFC this season?
Yeah, I mean, I would lean towards either the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens at this point. I know that the Chiefs lost that game to the Chargers in Brazil. I still think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but it's kind of tough to put them atop your AFC power rankings right now. Despite the blown lead from Baltimore, I thought they were pretty awesome in terms of if you take in the full scope of the game. That rushing attack absolutely eviscerated the Buffalo Bills, but at the same time, Josh Allen and that defense were able to magically come up with a couple turnovers, a couple scores late. So right now, I think you have to exit week 1 looking at the Buffalo Bills as the team to beat in the AFC.
Do you think all will be forgotten if the Titans beat the Rams come Sunday?
Oh, sure. I mean, if you're saying all be forgotten in terms of all the stuff that took place in week 1 against Denver, yes. I'm not ready to have Brian Callahan say he's solid in his standing with his job with what happened in 2024. But if we're specifically talking about rebounding from week 1 to week 2, yeah, I would be completely fine to forgive Brian Callahan and the Tennessee Titans if they are able to pull off an upset against a Rams squad, which I really do think is loaded on both sides of the ball. There is a path to victory, though. The Rams love to play in some of these low-scoring games lately in the regular season. So if Tennessee can just score more points pretty simply and win the time of possession battle, win the turnover battle, that would be a key to victory for Tennessee.
So what is your prediction then?
Let's see. I did have I released my picks column this morning.
Did you know at the time that you released this, there's no J.C. Latham and no Tavondre Sweat?
I did not know about Tavondre, but I did know that J.C. Latham ruled himself out, which I definitely think is a massive loss. So the Rams are sitting, when I got them, at -5.5, I believe. And my final score is a low-scoring game. The Rams win 16-10.
There you go. An exciting game coming up on Sunday after watching an exciting game last week.
No way. 16-10. Yeah.
What is the 49ers? What is going on in their medical department and training staff? Because nobody could stay healthy. Is this just sheer bad luck that has just caught up with them over the course of a few years? Because it seems like everybody's getting injured in San Francisco.
Yeah, I struggle to say it's bad luck, to be honest with you. I feel like something must be going on because when you're having issues with Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, all those guys who are so important, you don't want to be dealing with those issues when you're just starting to kick off the season because things are only going to get worse. So Brock Purdy's going to miss between 2 to 5 weeks with a variant of a turf toe injury, which is the first time I've heard that. He also injured his left shoulder, I believe. But here's the thing. I don't think the 49ers are necessarily pushing the panic button just yet because you know who their backup is now? It's Mac Jones. And
Kyle Shanahan's former, draft crush.
Draft crush, yeah. And who talked him out of it? Was it John Lynch? Was it the national media? Was it us? You know, San Francisco definitely considered taking him with the number 3 overall pick back in 2021. But before that, I guess they fell in love with Trey Lance's arm talent or his mobility and his athleticism. But here's the thing, you know, all those years went by and now Mac Jones is a 49er. So if he's someone who can have some kind of Brock Purdy rise, if you will, working with the weaponry around him, and if he's protected by that offensive line, keep in mind they played the New Orleans Saints this week, which, again, is one of the worst teams in the NFL. So don't count the 49ers out just yet. I struggle to say that because losing George Kittle and Jawan Jennings is tough, but I'm excited to see what Mac Jones can do in his first start with this team.
What was the bigger message to their team? Dan Campbell saying, hey, this is a must-win game. We have to win this game against the Bears coming up this Sunday, or Aaron Glenn cutting Xavier Gibson, a guy that's been a special teamer for them for a while before he even got there, before Aaron Glenn got the job, and cutting him because he fumbled and pretty much cost them the game?
I think that's a great question. And I'm going to lean towards Aaron Glenn releasing Xavier Gibson, who's been their key returner for the past couple of years with the New York Jets. And as you pointed out, Aaron Glenn wasn't even part of this franchise when he was returning kicks. But we saw it in the post-game press conference after the loss to the Steelers that Aaron Glenn told reporters, the one thing we can't do is turn over the ball. We have to play discipline. So with Xavier Gibson fumbling that ball in the second half, it didn't lead to the game-winning score. There was plenty of football to be played after the fact. But Aaron Glenn sent a message to his locker room saying, if you're going to fumble away the ball as a key returner, you're not going to be part of this football team. So I thought that was a pretty strong message by the first-year coach.
Okay, Ben Johnson bungled the end of his Bears coaching debut with timeout usage. We saw the same thing with Matt Eberflus last year. Is there a timeout issue in Chicago? Is it just inherent in the franchise itself?
Clearly, yes. And I'm glad you brought this up because naturally in Tennessee, we're going to be talking about what Brian Callahan did wrong with coaching. I thought what Ben Johnson did was more egregious, in my opinion. I thought that even though the game appeared to be in hand, he made one of the most confounding challenges I've ever seen in my life with that fumble in the third quarter, a challenge that he had no chance with. So he wasted a timeout there. His second timeout in the second half came right before a J.J. McCarthy rushing touchdown, which gave the Vikings the lead. And the biggest mistake he made, which is something that fans were talking about all over social media, and these fans were right, is that when he was kicking off the ball after that touchdown drive, in order to give your offense as many seconds and as many minutes as you possibly could, you don't want to waste the 2-minute warning because at that point you only had one timeout in your pocket. So what Ben Johnson should have done is instructed his kicker to kick the ball out of bounds, not out of the end zone, out of bounds, left or right, because that is a penalty according to the NFL rulebook that cannot be declined. So the next play that Minnesota ran would have initiated the 2-minute warning. That would have been a timeout, and Chicago still would have had another timeout. So hypothetically, all this to say, instead of 9 seconds for Caleb Williams to have a chance to orchestrate a game-tying or game-winning drive, he would have had maybe around 50 seconds to get Chicago down the field. So I thought Ben Johnson actually really hurt his team in his coaching debut.
Okay, Tennessee Volunteers versus Georgia. Georgia's coming to Knoxville. Jermod McCoy, he's out. Ricky Gibson, he's out. David Sanders, he's out because he hasn't even played a game yet. Heupel's never beaten Kirby. Heupel's never scored more than 17 points on Kirby. But is this still the best chance for Tennessee to win this game? How are you feeling about that game?
Listen, I probably came off as a pessimist this offseason when I talk about not only the Tennessee Titans, but also the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm not putting on orange face paint and declaring Joey Aguilar as the next Peyton Manning just because he beat Syracuse and ETSU. With that being said, I am all Vol this week. Tennessee wins this game. I don't need no points on the spread. Georgia defeated Austin Peay by 22 points last week. That was their smallest margin of victory versus an FCS team since 2016. Tennessee is 21-1 at home since the start of the 2022 campaign. Now, granted, that one loss came to Georgia in 2023. But as you mentioned, Zach, with this game occurring so early in the year, I haven't seen enough of Gunnar Stockton to think he's some kind of superstar. That environment in Neyland Stadium will be rocking. Let the band play Rocky Top. Tennessee wins.
Oh, Jordan, man, I hear your passion, but I must ask you, being a true Tennessee Vol fan, would you rather beat Georgia come Saturday and not make it to the playoffs, or lose Saturday and make it to the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm all about the long game. I'd rather make the playoffs, to be completely honest with you. Beating Georgia would be great. It's a legitimate rivalry. I understand that. We haven't done it in quite some time, but I would definitely rather make the playoff than winning just one game.
There you go. There you have it. Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. We went around the NFL with him. Jordan, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right. When we come back, it's the debut of the Lions Den Best Bets. Yes. Are you ready, Blaine?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
I got some bets ready. Got some college games starting with tonight that you guys are going to want to hear. We'll see. I wouldn't know. Don't know if I'm an expert.
Ross said you were.
Yeah, Ross, he's probably a little hungover from his birthday yesterday.
Oh, I know, yeah. I know. Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll get into that. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Lies.
Parents, when your teen athletes get injured, every practice miss matters. So don't let a sideline from an injury ruin your dreams. Introducing Edge Athletic Recovery Program, a 2-month, twice daily sublingual peptide protocol designed to help your athlete heal faster, recover stronger, and get back on the field safely. Our science-backed peptides BPC 157 and TB 500 support muscle, tendon, and ligament repair with no needles, no downtime, and no hassle. Safe for teens, no GMO, gluten-free, and easy to take at home. Optional add-ons include M-Scope functional sessions and regenerative orthopedic treatments to accelerate recovery even more. So don't wait. Give your athlete the best shot of full return to the sport. And all you have to do is have them call Edge Peptide Therapy at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And it's time for the Lions Den Best Bets, as Blaine was very interested to hear what I would have the best bets earlier in the week, so we decided to do it. Yeah. Let's see what it is. And I'm going to start off with the game tonight. New Mexico, the Lobos, play UCLA. And UCLA's favored by 15.5, and I'm going with New Mexico to cover the spread at 15.5.
No.
And here's why, because they covered the spread against Michigan. 17.5 point spread against Michigan in Michigan.
Yeah.
And yes, it's in UCLA, but New Mexico and UCLA are a little bit closer than New Mexico and Ann Arbor. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, UCLA has not looked very good, and New Mexico, for their first game out against a Michigan team, they put up a fight for a little bit in that first half against Michigan. So I'm going to have New Mexico covering the spread against Nico and the UCLA Bruins. That game is tonight.
What's the total points?
I do not know. I've exited out that point.
Oh, man.
But that's where I went on that one. Let me see if this will pull up.
Anything about New Mexico?
Well, I mean, I just know from what I've seen, because I watched, my wife obviously is a Michigan fan, so I watched that entire New Mexico game, and I was like,
yeah, that's where
at some point I'm a little like, are y'all going to lose this game?
Is that where the guy pushed him and ran off?
Yeah.
New Mexico, that offensive lineman pushed somebody from Michigan. Boy, that guy almost lost it after the whistle.
Yep. New Mexico versus Michigan, over under 53.5 points. So, yeah. So, I'm going with New Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the second one, because I got 5, and I got a bonus bet for everybody. Okay. So, I got 5. Georgia Tech, Clemson is coming to Georgia Tech. So, Clemson's going on the road. Clemson barely could beat Troy last week. They had their hands full with Troy. Georgia Tech is a much better team. Georgia Tech, in my mind, should be ranked, but they're not. Probably that woman that voted on it, moved Florida up 2 spots after a loss.
So if Georgia Tech supposed to be, ranked, so should Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah, I agree. Georgia Tech is the home underdog, and the home dogs bark louder in this situation. I'm going with Georgia Tech money line on this.
Oh, yeah. Clemson hasn't looked like we thought they were going to look. This is going to get really interesting. I really watched them there in the versus LSU. I think they're a little overrated.
I am with you, and I'm one of the people that overrated them. And they did not look good against LSU. And then
your boy Klubnik, was that his name?
Yep. And they did not look good against LSU. Didn't really look that good against Troy. And then, listen, Memphis is traveling to Troy this weekend. I almost put money on Troy because I don't know if Memphis is going to be able to beat them or not with the way they looked against Clemson. But maybe there's a little bit of emotional letdown game for them because they fought so hard. But, I'm going Georgia Tech money line, and these odds have already started dropping as far as favoring Georgia Tech on the money line. So get that while you can.
Dang. All right.
The next one is courtesy of Joseph. He put this one on our radar, bananas. It was Liberty is traveling to Bowling Green. And Bowling Green, and listen, Bowling Green is underdogs at home as well. And so I'm going with the home dogs bark louder mentality here, and I'm going to put the money on the Bowling Green money line.
But how much, though? Do we know?
Bowling Green was at the time.
Right now, Bowling Green is a 5.5 point dog.
5.5 point dog at home.
Oh, wow.
And Liberty is not that good. Liberty has beat Maine 28-7, lost to Jacksonville State 34-24 last week. Whereas Bowling Green, they're also 1-1. They beat Lafayette. But they lost to Cincinnati, which Cincinnati I feel is a better team than Jacksonville State, or at least a better pedigree of team, I guess you could say. So I think with being at home, I think it's going to be Bowling Green. So I'm taking Bowling Green money line.
Yeah, I got to support my man EG. Got to beat them, man. Come on.
Yep. All right. And then let's see here. What we got next? We have Vandy traveling to South Carolina.
Ooh,
this was a tough one for me to pick because I didn't know where I wanted to go. and I landed on Vanderbilt, South Carolina scoring over 48.5 points. So I went with the over with these two teams. 48.5 seems pretty low for these two particular teams and these two particular defenses. So I'm going over 48.5 points. Because I couldn't pick a winner. I just couldn't decide where I wanted to land on it.
Who won this game last year? South Carolina?
South Carolina. Remember,
right?
Chris Phillips told us yesterday they haven't won a game against South Carolina since 2008.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd stay away from this one, though, personally.
I don't know. I think the over makes sense, 48.5.
They both had a common opponent already,
Yeah.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I like the over on this.
So you can't pick a team? You're not going with your guy, Sellers?
I don't know because I have to be honest with you. South Carolina, kind of like Clemson, kind of feels like they got a little overrated over the season. And I'll say this: I didn't really like Nick Harbor, and Nick Harbor is not a wide receiver quite yet. The big tall guy for South Carolina,
number 8.
Yeah, he had that one big game and he didn't do anything. He didn't follow up with another good game. So it's like Diego Pavia has that it factor in some of these games, and I bet Vanderbilt over win total because it's only like 5.5, which I thought was criminally low. And I was like, I don't know. This seems like a game. Preseason,
Columbia.
Yeah. Preseason, I would have said this game is definitely South Carolina's. Now that we have 2 games of information and a common opponent, I think it's a lot more closer to being a toss-up than what it is. So that's why I'm going with the over because I just couldn't decide.
Did you watch any of Vandy in the second half?
Oh, man, it was insane.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was insane.
I'm going Vandy just for that alone. They're going to
Yeah.
take the crowd out of it. Man.
I like it.
That was crazy what they were doing.
Okay, the last official bet of the Lions Den.
Is this your extra credit one?
No, I got one more extra
Oh,
credit.
my gosh.
So I did 5. Utah covering the spread against Wyoming. The spread is 23.5. So they're going to score at least 24 points or more. Utah is against Wyoming.
Oh, okay. Unless Josh Allen shows back.
Yeah, unless Josh Allen shows back up. All right. Here's a fun one. This has nothing to do with anything. This ain't going to count as my win-loss total. So I'm going to do a little bonus bet because I just want to have a fun bet.
Okay.
Arkansas at Ole Miss.
As long as we're using your money.
Yeah. Arkansas at Ole Miss. 1+ receiving touchdowns and 1+ rush touchdowns by each team in each half is plus 2,500. And Taylon Green and the Arkansas offense has scored 50+ points in both games. Ole Miss is Ole Miss. They're always going to score points. So I'm going to go with that and just maybe put $500 on, maybe $10 on a 2,500 odds kind of deal. And just, hey, if it hits, it hits.
Repeat what you're going to bet on a day. Score a rushing touchdown.
Each team will score one rushing touchdown and one receiving touchdown minimum in each half.
Oh, each half. Oh.
That's a pretty good bet. That's good odds. That's what I'm saying. That's good odds.
That's a,
Plus 2,500, put $10 on, you may win $250.
You doing that one, Ross?
He's
I
putting
might tell him on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was doing it right now.
He was. I think he's up there. He's writing all these down to bet him. I got a little spreadsheet.
No, I'm not touching your other 5.
You're a coward then.
You're betting the spread in a game over 20 points?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man.
Utah has covered, though. They're pretty good at covering. Okay, look.
A 20-point spread?
Let me tell you. Utah had a 43.5-point spread last week against Cal Poly, and they scored 50. They won by 54 points. This is Wyoming with 23.5. I'm taking that all day long.
Man, this was going to go from the Lions Den to the Lions hot seat.
Yeah. I got my spreadsheet. We'll keep up with
we definitely keep track
how it goes. I got it right here. We'll keep up with it as well.
We know how you
keep it
scratch
above
out
board.
and white out stuff and try to replace it.
Yeah.
If you're a listener and you feel free to tell this and you go through with it,
I would not recommend doing a parlay. These are
I'm
bets.
just saying, if you're a listener and you tell this, you only have yourself
The
to blame.
Lions Den.
Oh, man. I bet at least 4 of these will win.
Well, you're betting 5 of them will.
Well, I mean, hey, that's pretty good hit rate. Most hit rates are only like, 50-something%? So 54, 55%.
So you did really 6. So you're going to hit a 3 out of 3? You're going to get 3 of them?
Oh, I'm getting at least 4 out of 5. I think I could get 5 out of 6 if we're doing the 6-point in there.
All right, so we're going to check back on this.
Back. We'll see.
Next Friday.
We'll see. Oh, I'll be talking about it. All right. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Rocky Top insider Ryan Shumpert. We're going to talk about some of the stats of the game, of this Tennessee-Georgia game, his feelings of it, what's the storyline, all that when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Let's talk insurance. King and Associates Insurance. They're independent agents. That's a big difference, but it goes beyond just having multiple companies to shop, weeding out the non-competitive companies, keeping great relationships with the best and the biggest and the brightest, along with bundling. But unfortunately, life happens and they get it. Here's a true story about my friend and coworker that switched from a previous independent agent and got better coverage on his home and its contents, even his automobiles, with flawless communication and a true champion in his corner, especially after his 16-year-old daughter's accident, and saved him thousands and thousands from an independent agent who was overcharging him for years. So you can make the switch and save the same, if not more. But don't make the switch because he did. Switch because you should. As a business, family, or an individual, make the switch to King and Associates Insurance. And I'm sure you could have good use for that extra moolah that you would be saving, just like my friend. Yes, and all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-321-8121. That's 321-8121. Or you can go online and check them out at tkinginsurance.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. And, of course, we're live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And we're going to the phones to preview University of Tennessee and Georgia this weekend with Ryan Shumpert, our Rocky Top insider. And, Ryan, how are you feeling now, just a little under 20, or I guess a little over 24 hours away from this game?
Yeah, Fridays are always a unique day. It feels like just about everything that can be said has been said, and just excited to go see what happens. I still, I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but I still lean Georgia in this game, but I think we're going to learn a lot about this Tennessee team one way or another tomorrow, and I'm excited to see how everything unfolds. Okay,
so let me ask you this. What is kind of going on with David Sanders right now? Because he's a prized five-star athlete, one of the top recruits in the nation, one of the most, talked about prospects the University of Tennessee has gotten since Nico, and he has yet to play a game. When do you expect to see David Sanders lining up at left tackle for this team?
Yeah, it's a very strange situation. The way it's talked about is kind of, I guess coy would be the right word, or at least it doesn't seem like it's talked about like a traditional injury, I guess. And because of that, I don't really expect him back imminently. I didn't expect him to play, or I don't expect him to play on Saturday. I think, it might have been Pete Nako. So basically said the same earlier today that was the expectation, but it's kind of one of those things where it's almost in a little bit of see it to believe it range, where it doesn't feel like it's just some very traditional injury and a traditional timetable. It feels like there's been some factors that they haven't been able to get over there. So a very odd situation, and certainly one Tennessee needs to get figured out, or wants to get figured out here at some point.
I was scrolling through my timeline, and a tweet of yours popped up on September 9th, and you were talking about, was looking back at the Tennessee passing numbers against Georgia, and they're pretty jarring. Talk about those numbers. If you don't have those up, I have the tweet in front of me. But talk about those numbers, and talk about maybe how confident you are in Joey Aguilar maybe changing that tune.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Tennessee finding a way to win this game, to me, the biggest thing I point to is having to be able to create some stuff through the air. And the last 3 years, Tennessee has not thrown for 200 yards in this game. They had a little bit more success in 2021, but even then, a lot of that was, Hendon Hooker got banged up in that game, and Tennessee was down big in the fourth quarter, and Joe Milton came in and threw for some yards. So since Georgia's seen this offense one time, Tennessee has not been able to have any passing success. I think it's a big challenge for a new look passing attack with not only Aguilar, but two of the three starting receivers being brand new starters who I think are more athletic than what Tennessee has at least had at the spot the last 2 years, but certainly inexperienced. I think the X factor, or the thing I would just say that I'm curious about, is we've seen Georgia seem to have, and Kirby Smart has seemed to have, the answer for Tennessee's wide splits and tempo and the things they want to do offensively at a rate really nobody else has. And some of that has to do with being able to limit the run game with less guys in the box. We've seen Josh Heupel, we've seen Tennessee's offense through 2 games look a little bit different, leaning less on those wide splits. Does some of those changes over the offseason, I think you would point to games like this is why Tennessee had to make them. How much of a spark can that give Tennessee's offense in this one?
We're talking about the Tennessee versus Georgia game coming up this weekend over in Knoxville with Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider.
Well, Ryan, you just mentioned that. I think Heupel's 0 for 4. I think it's 8 in a row, but Heupel's been there for the last 4. It seems as though they do have his numbers. What do you think they will do differently on offense? Because it seems like what happens is Georgia always says, you get that cat, I get that cat. Then next, everything's man-to-man, and we do everything we can to stop the run, and then all of a sudden Tennessee starts having trouble. How do they overcome that? Do they have enough weapons this year to overcome it?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. I would lean towards saying no, but I also don't think that's, I feel like that's a definitive. I do think yes. Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley they're just unproven, which unproven doesn't mean they can't show out and play, have big-time performances on Saturday and make a name for themselves in this conference. You just wonder about it, and you're or at least speaking for myself, I'm skeptical about it because I haven't seen it. So I think that's a big part of it. Look, it's certainly been a big conversation around Tennessee's offense of how simple some of the route trees are. I do wonder if we see Josh Heupel get a little bit more creative with things in this game, kind of based off what I was saying in that last answer about relying less on the wide splits. I just think that opens up more opportunities. So that's one thing I'm curious about in this game, because Tennessee has definitely shrunk the talent gap, but Georgia is still the more talented team. So what else does Tennessee have? What else does Josh Heupel have up his sleeve to kind of try to even things out in this one?
Well, speaking of talent gap, will there be an unleashing of Boo Carter, you think, on offense? No? Yes?
I don't think so on offense, but, man, I think defense you have to in this game. You know, they've kind of been doing the 2 drives, Jalen McMurray, 1 drive, Boo Carter. You know, Zachariah Branch is about as good as an athlete as there is in this conference playing at slot for Georgia. I think you need to have Boo Carter playing a lot more snaps and matching up with him in this one. And also just with the injuries at corner, I'd like to see Jalen McMurray. You know, he's a security blanket that can play out wide too. So I don't expect to see it on offense. Maybe we see a wrinkle or two, but he needs to be back there returning every punt. And I'd certainly like to see him more on the defense side of the ball than we've seen through 2 weeks.
Even though it's just week 3, going into this game, just this game, what would you say is the biggest storyline that most people is going to catch most people's eye?
Yeah, I think the one thing that really has a chance to do it would be Tennessee's pass defense in their secondary, because I think everybody points to the 2 injuries they have there, and rightfully so. I mean, Jamal McCoy's a preseason All-American, Ricky Gibson's a returning starter, and I think with those guys out, most people would say, yeah, Tennessee's going to be really weak in the secondary. Georgia, they went out and spent a lot of money in the portal to get weapons for Gunnar Stockton this season. Stockton's been okay, I guess you would say, through 2 games. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee's defense plays well in this game, and those corners for Tennessee really step up and rise to the occasion, that we wouldn't hear people talking about what a surprise it is that Tennessee has been able to replace the production of those 2 guys at such a high level.
And how much do you think, everybody's talking about the crowd noise, will it impact the game, if at all?
Yeah, I think it will some. Like you point to Gunnar Stockton being a first-year starting quarterback. Obviously, he started in the college football playoff, played in the second half of that Texas game, so he's not immune to having played in big games. But this is his first road start, and I think it's a different beast. Now Tennessee has to keep things competitive, I think, for that to truly matter. And I wrote it earlier today in one of my big keys for the game. I think they have to make Gunnar Stockton beat them. I think they have to put Gunnar Stockton in uncomfortable positions, and that's where I think the crowd noise can really could lead to things maybe spiraling for Georgia in that Georgia offense if you are able to get them off pace and get them in pass-heavy situations.
It's for all the Tennessee fans, and you would have a better gauge than anybody. Would they rather win this game versus Georgia and not make the playoffs, or lose a game and make the playoffs? What do you think the fans would say?
I think they would say make the playoffs, because I think if we're doing, Tennessee loses this game, makes the playoffs, they're almost certainly going to have to beat one of Alabama and Florida in the process of doing that. I don't think they can drop all 3 of those games and make the playoffs with what the rest of their schedule looks like. So with that in mind, the fact that it would mean another rivalry win later in the season, I think Tennessee fans would sign up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. So you're leaning Georgia. How does Georgia escape with the victory in your mind when you talk about this game and your prediction?
Yeah, I think defensively it looks a lot like it has in past years, where Georgia can confuse Tennessee's offensive line with some of their pass rush stunts and consistently have pressure on Joey Aguilar, and then they're going to play. There's no hiding the game plan for Georgia. They're going to play really physical outside with the corners, and they're going to challenge Tennessee and whoever they play. There's receivers to make plays, and Tennessee's receivers being incapable of doing that. I think that's on the offensive side, and then defensively, I think, or offensively for Georgia, defensively for Tennessee, I think it's, Tennessee's run defense. There's some questions about that with their defensive tackle depth. It would be for Georgia, maybe not to gash Tennessee on the ground, but to run the ball consistently well throughout the game, to be able to control the clock, to be able to put Gunnar Stockton in comfortable situations and not ask them to do too much. And, if Georgia doesn't have to ask their new starting quarterback to go win the game, I think they're going to be in a good spot, because I do think they're the more talented team.
All right, that's Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider joining us to cover everything about the Tennessee-Georgia game. We really appreciate it, Ryan. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys, and appreciate having me on.
No problem. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Tennessee Titans. We got to talk about the L'Jarius Sneed news. We got to talk a little bit more about the preview against the Rams and maybe get into a little bit of the play calling aspect of the Tennessee Titans and how they can help out their young quarterback. We'll talk about all that when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Listen up, Nashville. Dollar Shave Club just sharpened their shaving blades and juiced up their lube strips, all while keeping the price tag the same. To celebrate their best razor ever, they're hitting the road, and they're looking for the best at some of these parlay games in each city along the way. And they will be at Bridgestone Arena Pavilion from 1 to 8 p.m. this Saturday. And you could find me there as well from 2 to 4. So let's see if you got what it takes to beat me in some toss kick or even throwing competition. You know I'm pretty good. So top scorer during Dollar Shave Club's time in Nashville scores 2 tickets. Yes, 2 tickets to the Predators home opener. So don't be a dull blade. Show up and show out. So bring the family to test your skills in series of games done with Dollar Shave Club way. Yes, cornhole, football, soccer, darts, you name it, I'm in it. Free for the family, all in attendance. So just come show out. Go check out DSC 2025 Tour. That's DSC2025tour.com for more details.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. And, of course, we have the F&M Bank chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. We've been kind of swapping some steak recipes in the chat recently. One of our listeners was talking about a bone-in steak that he had grilled. They got from the local butcher shop. Shout out to Bustin' Diamond in the chat.
Just made some steaks yesterday.
And what kind did you make?
T-bone.
T-bones. I like T-bones in porterhouses. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him, I asked him if he ever put a bone-in ribeye, a big thick one, directly into the charcoal.
Oh, no,
and finished cooking it. And so I sent him a recipe of Michael Simon, a big time chef, and of a recipe that he did because I've done it a couple of times before, and it's interesting. It's good.
Oh, but maybe that's what we add to the Lions Den. Besides his horrible bets, he's got to put in there one cooking.
We don't know that they're horrible yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. One cooking thing you've done, maybe you pick one of the ones you've done all week and just trying to educate.
I'm doing Mongolian beef for the first time tonight. So
this is the first time?
First time. I found a little recipe that I kind of liked. Going to do some Mongolian beef tonight. So we'll see.
Yeah. See if you like it. Ross is going to be the taster, too. You got to bring in some tasters every time.
I don't know. I usually don't have leftovers.
Oh, really?
Or if I do, I usually bring them. I usually eat them.
Oh, okay. You use it the next day?
We are known to sometimes maybe throw a plain steak and coconut oil onto the for the dogs. Feed them a little bit.
This is true, too, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Hey, I wish I was that dog. I could feed some steak, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, listen, hey, they're there. They're part of the family. Might as well get it done.
I just give my dog the fat off the steak.
I don't think I could do that with these dogs. They're not big old dogs. They're French bulldogs.
Yeah, my dog is a Labrador. It's the middle sized one, and his belly has definitely shown that he's good with that.
All right. Brian Callahan said some curious things. I want to get your opinion on, Blaine. Obviously, we've already talked about the top of the show, the right tackle situation. For those that may just be tuning in, just real quick, J.C. Latham announced yesterday in the locker room he's not playing. Doesn't sound good for the next few games, but we'll see how that goes. It is a hip strain. And no assurance that Oli Udoh is going to be the right tackle. Ojukwu and Blake Hance, were mentioned by Brian Callahan as well as Oli Udoh as possibly playing right tackle. Now, can I just say something? If this is gamesmanship, that you don't want the Rams to know which one you're lining up, I don't think they're too concerned with whichever one you're lining up. So it makes me concerned.
I want to believe it's that, but I know it's not that. I think they're just going to rotate. I believe
think so.
Which I've never seen until last year anybody ever do that with their tackles. And actually, it kind of worked a little bit. And I was talking about each pass rusher say, okay, what is this guy? Oh, okay, this is what he's weak at because they've studied him.
Yeah.
And so so it kind of, you never know. Maybe you get, lightning in the bottle. But boy, if you got to use multiple people on the offensive line, man, you're in a bad spot. I'm concerned with that, let alone Moore Jr. if he can hold the front and play better than.
And because it's setting up, for the Rams defensive line to just be able to tee off whenever they want.
So is that a real question if they will have 6 or more sacks? Is that a real question?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, maybe the line should be set at 3.5 sacks. Is that too low to set the line at? Because obviously Cam Ward is a rookie, so you're going to get sacks on rookies typically in their first few games until they start getting their feet underneath them. But also now you don't have a right tackle and you have already a question mark of whatever you got a left tackle against a really good defensive line that is Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse all right there.
Man, that's what I was like, whoa, man, there's a part of me, man, I want to say this defense is just as good or maybe even a little bit better. Maybe not statistically.
Yeah.
But based off matchups,
I just hope it's not remember the Baltimore Ravens game in the rain against Marcus Mariota where he had 9 or 10 sacks that game? They were just all over him. And it was raining and they were just crushing him.
We know it's not going to be rain. It's supposed to be 95 and hot. But hopefully hot for us, not them.
I mean, that right there, woof. Not feeling that. Then, of course, Devondre Sweat's out. That means that probably you'll see a little bit more Sebastian Joseph Day. You'll have Shai Tuttle probably be active, who was inactive last week, a free agent.
Oh, okay, cool.
We'll see what the guy that they claimed off waiver, C.J. Ravenel, still got James Lynch on the roster. A little bit more platoon-worthy players there at that position where you could probably get away with it for the most part. But it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Are they going to put Jeffrey Simmons a little bit more at nose tackle than they probably would prefer, because maybe Steve Avila is not going to be there. If Steve Avila is not there, you got to take that matchup. Who's their left guard at the
That's right. They
the Rams.
supposed to have two guys out.
Well, the other two started practicing. Rob Havenstein, their right tackle, and Kevin Dotson, I think it's Kevin Dotson, play at right guard. Both practiced in limited fashion yesterday.
So both guards practice?
Well, no, Steve Avila. One right tackle and guard were limited yesterday, right guard. So
they seem to be getting healthy.
I know that's just sometimes the curse, I guess. But this brings me to L'Jarius Sneed and some the talk of pitch counts and all that kind of stuff. L'Jarius Sneed had a good week of practice per Brian Callahan. This is courtesy of Teron Davenport. The volume increased, and Callahan liked what Sneed did in the limited snaps last week. Callahan made a point or made sure Sneed is fully aware of the plan this week, which could be increased snaps, which I find curious wording that he made sure that Sneed was fully aware this week.
And could be.
Which could include increased snaps. He likened it to Micah Parsons in week 1 after not practicing in camp and having an increased workload in week 2, which Micah Parsons wasn't taken out by halves, if I'm not mistaken. I think he played the full game, but it was rotated in and out, correct?
Yeah, that's what I think.
So it's not exactly, of course, he just likened it, said it was similar, didn't say it was exactly, but not exactly the same approach. But how much do you expect L'Jarius Sneed to play? I mean, aren't you to the point, Blaine, where you've mentioned it last week, too, that this is your approach, so I'm assuming your approach hasn't changed. Play until the wheels fall off, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought once you get him warmed up after half, let him go until he tells you he needs to take a break, whether it's for conditioning or he's not feeling as healthy as he wanted to or just couldn't get warmed back up. But that's kind of how I would approach it. And I don't know the extent of his injury, so maybe that's why they had him on the pitch. Kind of just weird that they didn't tell him, hey, man, we're thinking this. And maybe they didn't want to tell a guy that because he might have changed. I don't know. But, platooning and just seeing by ear in the NFL is really a weird thing because that very rarely happens. They usually just don't dress you if you can only probably play a half. So that just doesn't exist. So it's uncharted territory as far as just platooning guys in. I would approach it a little bit differently. Maybe not to the level of Parsons, though, because, he was just not practicing it, not necessarily because of his injury of his back, but more so because he was holding out, I think, more so than anything else. So, yeah, hopefully he picks it up and they do even better on defense because I think they're going to need he lurking every kind of effort here against the Rams.
I mean, you're going to need it. So there were 63 snaps total for the Dallas Cowboys defense through believe the first game. Let me make sure on that.
You mean Dallas or Green
Dallas.
Bay? Oh.
I guess I do need to be looking at Green Bay, don't I?
Well, because he's down in Green Bay. Yeah, so.
Man, look at me.
That's a tough call. That's a playing it by ear. Maybe they didn't believe he even hold up in their minds. We'll let him say we'll go out there for half and we'll see how it goes, but we won't play him after that.
So there's been 136 snaps over the last 2 weeks, which makes way more sense for Green Bay. And Micah Parsons has played now 56.6% of them, 77. And so you need to see an uptick with L'Jarius Sneed. And I think your team needs it, right? Like your team, the Tennessee Titans defense, needs L'Jarius Sneed out there way more than they don't need him out there. I get that his health is important and his recovery is important. You're trying to do long term, but you also got to give your shot the best chance to win games. And the best shot, especially if Devontae Adams. Now, Devontae Adams is not playing. Maybe the tune changes a little bit on what we're discussing. But if he's playing, you need L'Jarius Sneed out there. You got to give your defense the best chance to get at the quarterback. And the best chance of that is going to be making Matt Stafford hold the ball long. And the only way to do that is have your best corners out there, making him have to second-guess his decisions. Now, Matt Stafford's not a guy that's afraid to throw it, but we're just talking about ways to slow him down, and coverage is going to be that way.
Oh, no doubt about it. First and foremost, it's hard you can't compare injuries. I mean, I know where Parsons didn't have surgery. Snead did and was out for a long period of time and two different positions. So both of them require a lot of stress, especially for a guy like Parsons, his back, and Snead, who runs a lot. So, two different injuries, hard to compare. One or the two, or how you should, the comfort level of playing. Obviously, Green Bay was very comfortable giving Parsons a big contract. And the Titans are in a position where they're trying to preserve and try to make sure that he is able to play longer each and every week and hopefully then a whole game. So that's kind of my take on that. But as far as their approach in this game, I think you got to get after Matthew Stafford. You got to hit him, even if he doesn't have the ball. And when I say hit him, because he's going to throw the ball fast. He doesn't want to get touched. He's an old guy in this league as far as 37. So defensively, I think they're going to get what they're going to get. I mean, I think you got to control the run game for sure. I think they want to run more than ever, Sean McVay, in this season, but they still are capable, with Devontae Adams, the receiver, and Puka Nacua. Man, I mean, that's a lot. So we shall see. Once again, a huge test for the defense. But will they rise and show up and do enough to help their team win? That's all they can do. And will the offense score more than 12 points?
That's the thing, because
that's a recipe.
We're talking about your right tackle situation, right? And with the left tackle situation is already starting off to look very suspect. Now, we could play the Michael Irvin clip again if we need to, but
they need him coming in.
Yeah, but you got to put up or shut up time for not just Dan Moore, but you also got to do it for Brian Callahan, right? Like, at some point, you got to you preach about putting your players in the best position to succeed. And I can't confidently say that I feel like he's done that on a consistent basis through now 18 games. And
it's hard when your offensive line is bad, though.
That's right. But then you got to coach around it. You may not be able to run the plays that you want to run. And that's my point, is that if you have a bad offensive line, don't make it harder on yourself and harder on the players that are playing in the game by sending 3 deep and having no outlet. You need to be focused on a quick passing game against this Rams defense, because you got athletic playmakers that, in these corners, they're good, but they're not Patrick Surtain good. No. They're not Riley Moss good. So you should be able to find advantages. And that leads me to where I think they may be going this way, Blaine, and maybe I'm just setting myself up to be disappointed. But he said that they're going to find more snaps for Chimere Dike and Van Jefferson this week, and they are two of the guys that tend to be able to get open in different ways. Now, Chimere Dike hasn't done a lot with it, I mean, because he's a rookie, but I think they're looking for speed guys or guys that can get open, and I think this is a bad sign if you have any Tyler Lockett stock right now, that I don't think he's going to play a lot of snaps. I think it's going to be Elikai Manor, Van Jefferson, Chimere Dike, and Calvin Ridley out there trying to get some targets and trying to create some more underneath short passes and yards after catch for Cam Ward, because that's going to be the easiest way to keep the pass rush at bay, besides the run game.
I just wanted to ask you this, because I know someone on the chat's going to ask this, but do you think they're going to dress Restrepo to help that?
No. No, they got Bryce Oliver still. I forgot about Bryce Oliver in the mission.
Bryce Oliver. Oh,
and he caught a good pass. Unlike everybody else, he's got a 100% catch rate right now when targeted. But, I mean, I don't think that Xavier Restrepo, I mean, I wouldn't expect it, would you? I mean, I'm a firm no.
They may not bring up a tackle just to make just kidding. I doubt it. Is a little too early yet. But they're going to go back to what I said they should have done from the beginning. Play the vets and ease the young guys in there and get them comfortable.
Yep.
And that's not, that's playing probably, 30% of the reps or whatever it would have been. But you want to go with the guys in this first game. If you're really trying to win, you don't want to have the unknown. You want to know the known.
Yeah.
And that's how I would have made that decision. And I would have rotated Van with everybody else along the way because now I'm also getting you guys experience. But I mean, it felt like Alec was out there almost the entire time.
Over 75% of the snaps.
He was out there the entire time. So it was like, dang.
I mean, they said that that's what they were going to do, and they leaned into it, and he went 2 for 7.
Yeah.
A couple of pass interference calls you could say here and there, whatever you want to say to make it.
Screwed. Underthrow on one of them.
Yeah, underthrow on one of them. But still 2 for 7's 2 for 7.
Had a drop on one, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the drop.
Did you hear what he said? He said he didn't even see where he released it, and then he saw it come at the last minute. He put his hands up because he couldn't see where.
Well, if that was Van Jefferson, we'd be getting calls that. What is it? He's a chump and sucker, and that he needs to be cut. With soft. Let's go to Ryan and Brentwood who wants to talk to the Titans. Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Oh, man.
Blaine, what's going on, buddy?
What's happening with you, man?
I always thought you'd be great at being a coach. Have you ever thought about getting into the coaching game?
Oh, yeah. I thought about it numerous times. All the times I was asked, and then I said no.
You need to get into it. God is calling you to it. I think you need to be a coach.
I know. I can't do it. Because I would have to get a question by Ross and Zach all the time, and I wouldn't have the answers.
I love that you always get hellos.
No, I looked at you because you laughed. Zach,
I'm just not here. I'm a secretary.
We're going to switch the names around. Zach and Blaine.
I'm just the administrative assistant of the show.
No, he was just.
I'm just in the shadow realm back here.
Yeah. Well, you don't deserve it. After you did mess up earlier today by not having Blaine, or yesterday by having Blaine's mic off.
But that was because it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It was his birthday.
1 day pass.
I went and got him, some water out of the water fountain over there.
Yep. All right, let's go to Mike in Nashville. Mike, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hello, Zach. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. I love it, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. That was what's up, man.
I had to show you some love.
Give him some love. He needs some love, too, man.
I want to make him feel special, so Zach, I'm just going to make this question for you.
I appreciate it.
I got your back. All right, but if you saw I messed up, Blaine, help him out. So here's the question right here. How many points does the Titans have to score in order to beat the Rams? And then how many takeaways do you think the defense is going to have to, I guess, help out the offense? And then, if this season is a losing season, does it count for Brian Callahan? If it does, do you see him on the hot seat?
Well, that's some good questions, Mike.
That's why he asked you.
Well, that's true. I mean, I think they at least have to score 20 points to be in the conversation to win this game.
You must be looking at my cheats. I got 20 points and 2+ turnovers.
Yeah. I would say that's probably the way it needs to go down.
But the offense has to score points.
Yeah. And it can't be field goals, right? Because you have to put the fear of God. You have to put stuff on tape to make people fear you later on down the road. I think that Cam Ward has shown that he can make any throw down the field, but the Tennessee Titans wide receivers don't scare anyone right now. So we have to put something on tape to make people scared, whether that's Tony Pollard breaking off big runs or Calvin Ridley going off for 150 yards. So at some point, they have to score points. And I think at least 20 points for this game is the only way you're going to be in the conversation. I know that, 16 or 10 to 10 by Jordan Dajani was the prediction. You would need 20 points to win that game. Obviously, you'd need 17, but I mean, at the end of the day, you need 20 points to keep. You got to be the aggressor in a game, and you got to be the aggressor first half and second half. We have yet to really see that from a Tennessee Titans team in a long, long time. Not just Callahan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the whole point. He was here to help them put up points, and that would be like 24 points a game. And so far, last year, the average was 18, and right now we're at 12, so we're somewhere around 14 points a game. Man, that's not going to cut it.
Well, and
No way.
it sucked last week, but I'm hoping he's learned that, like, you are not beating a playoff team with field goals alone. Like, you're not. So sometimes more aggressiveness is key.
Yeah. I do think that he's already on the hot seat. Now, maybe that's us putting him on the hot seat a little bit, but we have 18 games.
You said you and then you said us.
Us. I think it's us. I mean, the media and fans. I'm speaking in the general us.
I got you.
I think
I
he's
was talking about the show.
Yeah. Well, I think he's on the hot seat for sure. And that may just be me. That may just be the media and the fans doing something. But I would have to say that there were conversations during that game in Denver where they're up in that stadium and they're like nudging each other and making faces like, what are we going to do if this is what we see all year long? Like what? Because we just went on the record and said that, hey, this is all about Cam Ward's development. We know that, changing coaches and all that stuff can stunt quarterback's development. Maybe you shouldn't have said that out in public. But
for all those who keep saying we can stunt his growth with another coach, stop the madness.
Well, that's what they themselves said as a reason why
to
give them.
Stop that. That's the problem right there.
Right.
Guess what? If you got a real good quarterback, it doesn't freaking matter.
That's what I said last night. And they got one.
Freaking matter. And they got one.
And let me say something.
Don't matter.
Do you think you're going to ruin? This is not to you, but you can answer. But this is to the general
they changed
people.
Coordinators with the Colts when Peyton Manning threw the most interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, did it? Nope, because he was going to be great.
My question would be to those people who think that, if Joe Brady or Todd Monken come in here, or Matt Nagy come in here, guys that have worked with quarterbacks and know what to do you really think it's going to get ruined? Because if you think Brian Callahan is so bad, he may get ruined, or at least time wasted from his career by being with a bad coach. So I don't think that maybe getting possibly a better coach is going to ruin anybody in this situation.
Yeah, you can't let that kind of fear dictate your decisions.
That is true. All right, when we come back, we're going to give our final predictions on the Titans-Rams game and Tennessee and Georgia game. When we come back, this is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
It was once said, do all good you can, by all means you can, in all ways you can, in all places you can, and at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. And that's what owner Aaron Stokes has tried to do for over a quarter century. Hi, folks. This is Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just price. It's a deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can just actually sit down and relax. Plus a free 15-minute no-rent inspection to share with you what's going on. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair, work performed. Even rental cars are available for any appointment. You have 5 locations in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right. You can visit them online as well at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. University of Tennessee versus Georgia this weekend, Blaine. Georgia coming into town. I do kind of feel like there's a little bit of an edge for University of Tennessee, but this is a game like we were talking about off air, but we've talked about this game for the last few days, is that I think we're going to really figure out what Tennessee is, but also what Georgia is and how their seasons are going to look from here on in. I think it's one of those games. It's a statement game for both of them.
Especially on the road for Georgia. And then, naturally, Aguilar and Cruz see what he can do at home with this loud crowd on his side.
Yeah.
And will they carry that momentum throughout the game? So, yeah, with that crowd noise, man, if Georgia takes the crowd out of it, I'd get really nervous out of Tennessee.
That's what they're gonna have to extend drives. Obviously, they have not put the ball in Gunnar Stockton's hands a lot these first two games, but they haven't had to. They're likely going to have to at this point. But even when the ball's been in his hands, he's been pretty good. I mean, he hasn't been outstanding, not Heisman winner or anything, but he's been Georgia good.
Some people are sitting there being conservative offense on purpose to get to this game.
And maybe they are. I mean, that is a good point to put out there, is that maybe they didn't want to put a lot on tape. Because we have seen Gunnar Stockton be in big game moments. He came into the playoffs.
Yeah.
We kind of overshadow that he came into that playoffs game.
I thought he did a good job, too. We definitely know he can run. But, that situation, man, considering all that was at stake there, I thought he did an admirable job. Now, was it perfect? No. Can he be better? Yeah. So that would give me a lot of confidence if I played in that game. So,
since 2021, Tennessee Volunteers have yet to throw for 200 yards.
Against Georgia.
Zero passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions in those games. I mean, that's kind of insane.
Wow.
Threw for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2021. That was 244 from Hooker. And then they averaged in their last 4 games 12 points per game.
12 points.
So with all that said, let's go around the room. I'll start. Then we'll go to...
You want to start with Jackson and Bananas?
No, because they can't be objective. They think their wide receivers are elite now after 2 games.
So how much do you think they're going to win by?
40.
No, I think it's going to be a touchdown game.
Go ball.
Touchdown.
Well, you didn't get to hear what it was.
Touchdown or less is what I think.
Okay. In favor of who?
Oh, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Same for you, Jackson?
Yeah, I think it's a close game. I'm going to take Tennessee walk-off field goal. I'm storming the field.
All right, Ross. Level-headed mind.
You know, I'm a big believer in momentum, and I think the Vols have all the momentum, shockingly. I would usually not pick them, but I'm going to take Tennessee 23-17.
Oh, you must have been in my head, because I'm going Tennessee 24-17.
Okay, I like it.
Because I think that they're gonna flip the curse on Georgia in this game. Listen, I'm not very confident in it, but I'm kind of feeling, I don't know. You're in Knoxville. I think that's the game changer for me in this game. I'm going 24-17.
24-20, Tennessee.
Wow, okay.
Yes, they get over the snide.
24-20.
Tennessee just lost.
17.
Yeah, everybody's
23-17.
Yeah, they're going to take that dog home. He's going to be barking because he's going to be whining.
All right. Final predictions for Tennessee Titans versus LA Rams.
Oh.
I'm going LA is going to be 24 and Tennessee is going to be 10 with Cam Ward's first touchdown pass of the year. And I'm going, it's going to be to Tony Pollard in the flat is where I'm going to go with my touchdown pass. And then we'll get your poll results. We forgot about the poll, but we'll get your poll results too. Blaine, what about you?
Oh, as far as his touchdown pass, I'm going to Chig because nobody will pick Chig. I'm picking Chig for his first touchdown and first home game, Titans 20-17.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Titans every game this year. feel like I have to as
It's
a
still
fan.
early
even though,
yet. I'm still living in hope, but I am super nervous. Matter of fact, my upper back is tight right now. That's because of the offensive tackle, left and right. Oh, my God.
If J.C. Latham was playing this game, I may err on the side of the Tennessee Titans, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
do I actually think they'll win? No. But for sake of my fandom, I will take Tennessee 17, LA 14 with
Okay.
the first TD to Alec Iamaner in the red zone.
Okay, so what did the poll results? I mean, obviously we had a bunch of people say Gunnar Helm, but what did the poll results say?
37% went to Calvin, 35 to Alec, 12 to Tony, and 16 to other. Looked like got multiple Gunnar Helms in the comments, and someone said, is John Ojukwu an option?
There you John Ojukwu dagger play. Be on the lookout for it. All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. Has been covered too with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.